Peter.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the TNT Business Podcast. I'm your host, KT Temple, and I am here with my co-host. He is visibly tanner than he was the last time I saw him. How's it going, man?
I only missed one episode, too. Just want to point out.
Yeah, I need everyone to go listen to that episode so I can just tell them that I don't need them, you know? Just go listen to that one for me.
Did you nerd out? You probably were. It was our play.
We did marketing and branding stuff. It was good. It was good. So he is back from the boat, back in a new America that is now at war, technically. When does it become a world war?
No, it's not. So it's not a war until war is declared. For example, since I left, Pakistan and Afghanistan have declared war on each other, which, you know, I think the most important thing about those two countries is their proximity to India and all that goes on there. But that's you're not in war till you declare war. How about that?
I don't know. I disagree. I think when you start bombing people, I think you can consider that. Is that just
fair?
Yeah.
You know, but
are we still just negotiating, even though people are being bombed and? Semantics, I guess.
When your great nephews are studying history, they won't be calling this a war.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to do a market update today, and we are going to push that off to next week because obviously markets can change very quickly right now. And so we will hopefully be doing our quarterly market update for you guys next week, depending on everything that happens.
You know, KT, if we would have, let's just say that we would have taped this last Friday. If we would have taken a market update on Friday, by the time we got in on Monday morning, it would have already been off base because of what happened on Saturday. The predictions we've been making would have been off base, and I don't feel comfortable until we get a little more clarity of what's going on, kind of talking about, you know, what we think. When we say the market update, it's the housing market update. You know, what the housing market's going to do. And I think a lot of people, you know, I did a thing today that was supposed to be a market update, and everybody was much more interested in talking about the effects of this on what's going to happen than anything else.
Yeah. So let's start there. Give us an idea of what is going on.
Well, and I'm not going to get into political reasons because there's people smarter than me that's got to decide who has nuclear weapons and who doesn't. The decision was made that we needed to start something that would take out the leadership and take out the capabilities of Iran to have nuclear weapons. And so that's what started. And that's what they're doing. Is it's a combo, U.S. and Israel that are doing this. You know, when it first started, KT, this was going to be a kind of in and out. They were saying 1 to 2 weeks. The latest, as of today, now they're saying 4 to 5 weeks, possibly longer. And I think what I kind of saw that happen that, you know, for me, and again, I'm not a war strategist and I don't follow this closely. The surprising thing to me has been all the places that Iran has attacked. You know, they even attacked Dubai, Kuwait, Qatar. I think basically what they were doing is like, hey, we're going to just shoot at everybody and try to make everything as completely discombobulated as possible.
And it has.
Oh, it has. Well, yeah. I saw today, and I haven't read a follow-up, but apparently 3 U.S. fighter jets were shot down by Kuwait, and it turns out it was friendly fires.
That's why I want to be it was friendly fire, and this has happened multiple times over the past few years.
Well, KT, things are happening fast. You know, hey, man, a plane's flying toward me. I got to decide whether to shoot or not quickly. Now, in this case, all 6 pilots ejected safely. Everybody's fine on that end. But, I mean, there's a lot going on. And I have to think that was kind of calculated on Iran's part to go, okay, let's just mess this up as big as possible. Now, as far as the U.S. economy goes, because that's, you know, really what we're talking about, what is this going to be the effect on us? So the Strait of Hormuz it's a very narrow. It's only at its shortest point. It's only 2 miles across. Yeah. Very easy to disrupt there. And basically what they've said is there ain't no ships coming through here. Mm-hmm. And 20% of the world's oil production goes through there. Now, that 20% doesn't come to us. You know, we're going to, but I think I read it's 45% of China's oil comes through there. So right now China's paying a whole bunch, you know, for oil. Well, here's the thing. If China can buy less for the people we're buying from kind of deal, in other words, the fact that we don't get a lot of that oil or any, maybe it doesn't matter. It affects the price that we're all going to pay because it becomes an open market.
Well, and that's one of the things I don't think people realize. Oil is not a national product. It is a world market.
It's a world market.
So where it affects anywhere, it affects all of us.
Oh, sure it does. And we produce a lot of oil, but not enough. Mm-hmm. And we have a huge stockpile, but do you want to go into that? So that they'll be slow to do that till they figure this out. So the first thing that's going to happen, it's already happened. The price of oil is going up. You will pay more at the pump. And that's what I hear most people talk about. Well, gas prices are going to go. But hold on, let's back up for a second. It's not just gas prices that go up, because almost everything requires on oil at some point. For example, you can take a vacation. Well, guess what? Your plane ticket's going to cost more because their fuel is going to cost more. Okay. Oh, do you order from Amazon? Oh, well, the prices are going to go up on shipping because all the trucks that deliver, it's just this whole effect. So,
and not to mention the delays around shipping, because again, that strait is they're already looping around and saying, if you ordered something internationally, expect it to be delayed. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now it's kind of weird the way it works, KT. Typically in times of conflict, call it war, whatever you want, our economy does well. And it's because the government spends a bunch of money. They've got to pump money into things and just all the things they have to buy. So a lot of times during these conflicts, the gross GDP can go up and they come back and go, great. Here's our problem that we're going to have is as oil becomes more expensive, well, that's going to affect inflation. And then as other goods become more expensive, that could affect inflation. So now inflation, which we've been slowly bringing down, now it starts going back up. Well, then the next thing that happens is all of a sudden rates go back up because they'll start raising the Fed rate to try to get people to slow spending, to try to slow inflation. And so that's kind of it's really the short-term effect that becomes a long-term effect based on how long this is. Now, if it's 1 to 2 weeks, if it's 4 to 5 weeks, it's probably still fine. If this starts stretching into summer, it's not going to be pretty in terms of what we look at in the economy and what we'd like to see, especially when it comes to the housing market. It won't be a help to us.
Yeah, I believe the count is 13 different countries are now involved in this directly. Right. One of those countries being a UN member, so that can again escalate things even more. And last time we heard that this would be a 2-week to a month thing. That was the beginning of a 20-year war. And so these things, I don't know how this de-escalates quickly.
Well, it's just going to have to play out, and it's going to depend on, most of the top leadership was taken out. So, they got to get new leadership. Are they willing to come back to the negotiating table around the nuclear arms? There's a lot of things that are going to happen. But, Katie, here's what I saw immediately. So on Friday, when the day ended Friday, the week ended with the average 30-year fixed at 5.99%, which, by the way, I think they did that on purpose. They didn't say 5.98. They didn't say 6. 5.99, just get it under 6. And at that time, the 10-year Treasury bill was at 3.99 exactly. It was exactly a 2-point spread. And that's what we usually see between the T-bill and the mortgage. Typically it's around that 2. It was exactly 2. Well, you wake up Monday morning and a war started and the T-bill went from 3.99 to almost 4.2. And the 30 average fixed at one point went all the way to 6.35. Now it's back down to about 6.2 today. And in other words, you got to watch that. And people are they'll put that money in the T-bills and cause them to go up as a safe haven against what's going to happen in the markets and things. So that's one thing that I'll really watch is what's going on with that in terms of what I think rates are going to do, going up and down. And again, we talk about the Fed rate. We talk a lot about the 30-year average fix, but the cost of this affects everybody, whether you're getting a car loan or a credit card or, whatever, taking a student loan, whatever it is, the Fed rate, the cost of money, everything all gets affected at the same time. It's not just the ones that we talk about the most.
So you're a small business owner. What are you paying attention to? What are your thoughts?
Well, if I'm a small business owner, I'm definitely watching inflation very closely. And then I'm at this point, I've got to figure out what my prices are going to do, what I have to buy. What are those prices going to do? Because I've got to predict what I've got to charge on the back end. And so you just got to watch the economic indicators and then follow this closely and see what you think about To me, KT, really and truly, the biggest thing is how long this lasts.
Yeah.
That's going to be the determining factor. If it's over in 2 weeks, this will be a blip on the radar in terms of our economy. At 4 or 5 weeks, it's really probably a blip too. You go over 2 months, you start getting to summertime, you're going to see hard, and you're going to feel it. I really think you're probably going to feel it at the gas pump first, because that's the number you see. You might not notice as quickly that your Amazon bill is a little more expensive, or you're shipping on something as quick as, you're driving by the gas station today and it's $2.69, and then you drive by 2 days now it's $2.89, and then next week it's $3.19. You notice that quickly, and that's where you'll feel the pain or see the pain first.
What else should we talk? I mean, I feel like this is so new. I don't know if there's anything else before we jump to the next section.
Katie, all we're telling people is what you have to watch for. We're not talking history now. We're talking the future. I mean, This is what you need to look for. And everything that we would have told you a week ago in terms of what was going to happen with the economy is a little bit up in there. Now, I do know this. Typically, Katie, when this happens, you'll see the dramatic effect. Like typically, the stock market would have been down on Monday. Okay. And then after about 2 weeks, it kind of shakes out and you see what's going to. Well, the weird thing is, stock market opened Monday and it tanked. It made it all up. By the end of the day, it was kind of back to either a little down, even up, depending on what index you're looking at. Stock market didn't care that much, but after 2 weeks, let's see what it looks like, see where it shakes out, and what people are talking about. The thing is that right now, so much of the stock market is being driven by all things AI. And yes, KT, I just threw you a segue.
Thanks,
to
buddy.
what you're dying to talk about, but it actually goes into the defense department.
Yeah. I mean, it's all connected, and it's one of the most infuriating things to me as somebody involved in tech. How ChatGPT has immediately made me not trust them ever again because of this. If you don't know, Anthropic is similar to OpenAI. Anthropic is the owner of Claude, which is a ChatGPT, and OpenAI owns ChatGPT. They are competitors. Think Apple versus Microsoft. And the government likes Anthropic's LLM model, a large language model, more than ChatGPT's. The government's actively using Anthropic, and when they did use I am jumping the gun a little bit. So the government says, we want to use Anthropic, and we want to use them. We want to use your software for what we want to use it for. And they say, great, here's the 2 things you cannot use our stuff for. And that is mass surveillance domestically and autonomous warheads, meaning that there is no longer a person involved in a decisive killing blow. Right now, both those things. Right now, when you're thinking the government's already, doing mass surveillance, and they are. They absolutely are. However, it's so much data that you have to use an AI to make sense of that data. And right now, they don't have that because they have said no. And the other thing is, anytime we go and we use a missile strike or anything like that, drone strike, anything, there's a person pressing that button. And so Anthropic said, here's the 2 things that we don't want you to do. And the government said, well, we want to do those 2 things. And if you don't let us do those 2 things, then we are basically going to blacklist you. It is the American government saying that we are going to do everything we can to hurt you if you do not cave into our demands.
Yeah, KT, let me pause 1 second. They didn't just say we're not going to do business with you. They actually said we'll put you on the list so that other people can't do business with you. I mean, it's big.
And if you don't know, Anthropic is invested by people like Amazon. So their idea of saying, Anthropic, you have to do what we're going to do, or we're going to make sure that people can't use you and Amazon. So does that mean people in the government can't use Amazon? It's very cloudy on how strong-armed the government is going to use that. But basically, Anthropic said, bring it on. We're not going to do it. And ChatGPT said, right there with you. And all the other competitors, Google Gemini, said, we agree with you. And so the government had a fine line Friday at 5 p.m. And suddenly, ChatGPT changed their mind. Sam Altman caved and said, okay, well, if they're not going to do it, we're going to do it. And
5 p.m. was the cutoff. At 11 p.m. that night, the new contract was signed.
New contract signed. So Sam Altman with OpenAI and ChatGPT have basically given the government the keys to do mass surveillance domestically and autonomous killing of people using their AI software.
And the government has not said that they're going to do either one of those. It was never, this is what we're going to do it for. Claude was just getting on the front end and going, if you ever decide we don't want any part of that.
Yeah.
And the government said, you're not going to tell us anything.
Yeah. But leave it to the government to have a shiny new toy and not want to use it. And so I think, to me, it's very, very, it sucks because ChatGPT was the model. However, ChatGPT is not the golden child that it was. A lot of people are going and checking out Claude, and they find that they like it even more.
And the number one app over the weekend downloaded, right?
Absolutely. So Anthropic ran 2 Super Bowl ads, and that did not move the needle. This happens, and now suddenly everyone's like, screw ChatGPT, I'm going to Claude. And also at the same time, Claude released, and I'm sure this will get shut down. So if you're interested, and I urge you to, do not support ChatGPT. I am absolutely saying that. If you are interested in switching to Claude, they have a new software. You can look it up to move all your data from ChatGPT into Claude. Again, that will get shut down. ChatGPT will
go fast.
Yeah. So if you're interested in switching, now is the time. But this is the largest drop off in subscriptions to ChatGPT that they've had since their inception.
Well, I want to point out, KT did not say do not use ChatGPT. He just said that there's another alternative called Claude.
There's many alternatives. There's Google Gemini.
Don't get us shut down, KT. That's the last thing we need. So, KT, here's what I want to say.
Kit just likes that I get him referrals from ChatGPT. He's trying to.
In case you don't know, I do not use any AI. Now, everybody around me does, so I get the benefits.
He does not use any AI intentionally.
Yeah, it's not my thing. So I don't have a dog in this fight. I haven't personally used any of them. Second thing I want to point out, hey, I'm not smart enough to tell you if they should be able to use map. People, they got to figure it out. Here's what I want to say about Claude. I applaud you for standing by your principles. I'm not saying whatever your position, I don't care. It's kind of like KT. I don't care if you don't like chicken or if you don't believe the same things that Chick-fil-A does. At the end of the day, I applaud Chick-fil-A for standing by their principles, which is we're going to be closed on Sunday and we're going to give up. It's Chick-fil-A gives up 16% of their income if every day is equal, but it's not, because Sunday would be the second best day a week. But so I just applaud people that stand by their principles, no matter whether I agree with them or not, but they stood by them. So kudos to them.
Well, here's the scary part about this for Anthropic is that the AI race is moving fast. In any speed bumps that you have to now get over, and the American government is now a giant speed bump to them, can really hurt you in trying to scale these things up quickly. And they have definitely evoked the wrath of the gods to expand this. Anthropic was totally down a couple days ago. Now, the funny part that I wanted to get to, it's not funny, it's awful. But the American government says, all right, no one in the government is allowed to use Claude. We're done. Guess what they used over the weekend to bomb Iran? They still use Claude. Yes,
that's still what they had, right?
They still used it over the weekend, and that's what they used it for. So who knows if they're going to actually follow through with any of this. It definitely leaves a bad taste in my mouth of seeing ChatGPT fall to this level. But if unfortunately, if ChatGPT didn't do it, there was Google Gemini. And if Google Gemini didn't do it, there's now so many options that you kind of knew that one company was going to give in. ChatGPT needs the money more than anybody else. They don't have business daddies like Google. They've got Microsoft, but that business daddy, I think, is slowing down on their investments compared to Google, compared to Anthropic.
Yeah. Anthropic is actually privately owned, but one of the private owners, the biggest one, like you said, is Amazon. Casey, I'm going to stand by my statement that I make every time we talk about this. AI is just a fad, just like the internet, and I'm keeping my Encyclopedia Britannicas. So there.
I mean, you of everybody, you've done a good job of avoiding social media. We really thought you would cave eventually and download Facebook, but you haven't.
No, haven't done any of that.
Man, I saw a video today of somebody working with somebody, and they go, "What's MySpace?" And that made me feel really old.
Yeah, there we go. So, KT, you had to do this without me last week. I'm just wondering if you remembered to do the intro and thank our sponsors. Which
I did it last time. But I definitely forgot to do it at the beginning of this one. So
you definitely did again.
I was just so excited to see you. So thank you to our sponsor, the Temple Team. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, you can find us at thetempleteam.com. We are based out of the Lake Norman area. However, we've got agents all the way up from Hickory down to the Fort Mill area to help service you with any of your real estate needs. But even if you're looking outside of that area, reach out to us. We would love to connect you with one of our trusted real estate partners through our vast referral network and make sure you end up with a great agent. So again, whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, you can find us at thetempleteam.com. If you found this episode interesting and learned something, feel free to leave us a review. Really does help us out a lot. And share this with somebody. We'll be back again next week with another episode. See you guys next time.